Satchel from Steel Panther. You're listening to Metal Stream Radio with Metal Matt, and he's totally naked from the waist down.
Hey guys, Metal Matt here, back again every Friday and Saturday to bring you some heavy metal for a couple of hours. And, I'm a metal singer myself. I got lots of cool rock and roll stories I'm going to share with you. That's what I try to do every week. Lots of cool rock and roll stories, some interview clips. I've interviewed a lot of cool rock stars like Kane Roberts, KK Downing, Satchel. The list goes on. But yeah, I'm always trying to bring something unique, and obviously we're going to be listening to a lot of heavy metal. Some stuff you may have heard before and some stuff you may not have. I try and play a real variation here on Metal Stream Radio because we're all about bringing heavy metal to the masses. There's not enough of that, but Metal Stream Radio is the place to hear all the great heavy metal. And we're not stuck on one thing. You'll hear a lot of different kinds of heavy metal right here. And today is no exception because we're kind of delving into a special of covers today. There's some great artists which we all know and love, like Anthrax, Merciful Fate, Motorhead, but today we're going to hear them playing stuff they don't usually play, some covers, paying tribute to artists they admired or songs they liked, and putting their own spin on these songs. So yeah, it's a cover special. I've really tried my hardest to dig out some gems today, and I've believe I found some great gems for you also. Got tons of great covers. We're going to hear a different side to a lot of well-known heavy metal artists that I know you all know and love today. So yeah, sit back, crack open a Cerveza or a Coca-Cola or a fruit juice smoothie, whatever you want, and just sit back and relax because we got a couple of hours of heavy metal. And we're going to start with someone I love, King Diamond, that voice, that haunting voice. But before he was King Diamond, he was Merciful Fate, as I know many of you know already, because there's many fans of Merciful Fate out there. And I kind of hear a bit more Judas Priest influence in the early Merciful Fate, and it was kind of quite different to what King does himself with the kind of concept album kind of vibe and very haunting. Merciful Fate's quite straightforward heavy metal, but kind of dark, still had that dark vibe. And talking of paying tribute to bands and hearing that Judas Priest influence, I managed to dig out a cover they actually did of The Ripper. I don't know when they did this. It feels like a more recent thing, but I'm not sure. I don't think it was right back in the day they did it, but who knows? I couldn't find that information, but I did find the great cover, and it is a Judas Priest cover of The Ripper. Sit back, relax. We've got lots of heavy metal, and this is no exception. The Ripper!
You're in for a surprise. You're in for a shock. In London town streets, when there's darkness and fog, when you least expect me, and you turn your back, I'll attack. I smile when I'm sneaking through shadows by the wall. I laugh when I'm creeping, but you won't hear me at all. The Ripper, you'll soon shake with fear, never knowing if I'm near. I'm sly and I'm shameless, nocturnal and nameless, except for the Ripper, or if you like, Jack the Knight.
go. How cool. I love that version. Really, really different, you know. It's got that kind of creepy vibe, you know, what King is so good at, you know, great vocals and great music, you know. The Merciful Fate band really nailed that, you know. So yeah, that was great. That's a little gem I come across. And there's so many cool covers I found, which, you know, I'm sure a lot of us haven't heard, and it's cool to hear kind of who inspired these people. You can tell, you know, when you hear them sing these songs, you can kind of see how the influence may have, you know, stemmed from that. And yeah, it's really cool. So next up, we're on to a band called Venom, which I think you may know. They are the inventors of heavy metal, if you didn't know already. And yeah, fantastic band. You've got Conrad Lant, Kronos on vocals. You've got Jeff Mantas Dunn on a guitar. And you've got Abaddon on drums. They were always a three-piece, but they had such a big sound, you know. Known for the albums Black Metal, you know, that was the debut album, which actually kind of defined the genre and come up with a label, Black Metal. So, you know, there's no denying they were the inventors, because before that time, black metal had not been heard, you know. So yeah, we've got a great song up next, but I believe this is from the period with Demolition Man on vocals, which I personally, I'm a big fan of Kronos, the original stuff. I love Kronos' voice, but I feel like here this is great, a great version of Hellbent for Leather on the Judas Priest theme. Yeah, I think this is really cool, and I enjoyed it a lot. And you know, he's kind of got a bit of a Kronos-y voice going on this one, but obviously he was known for his own stuff. He did his own music with Demolition, and he did Venom Inc. as well in more recent years. For I think he may still be doing that, but Mantas is no longer in the band and different things. You know, I think there's been some disputes and things going on there, and I think you know, I don't think they're working together anymore. But there's a lot of cool music, you know. Mantas, of course, he's a legend. You know, his guitar sound is so defining, you know. You hear that as soon as you hear his guitar sound, you know it's him, you know. And I think that's the sign of a good guitarist, you know. He's you know, just got such a unique sound, and his solos were always very kind of in keeping with the songs. I did talk with him actually quite recently, and we talked about whether Venom were the inventors of black metal. I'll play you that now before I play Hellbent for Leather, because it's quite interesting actually to hear his take on things, and yeah, give you an idea what you think. Do you think the inventors of black metal were Venom? Well, take a listen, see what Mantas thinks.
Hey, this is Satchel from Steel Panther. You're listening to Metal Stream Radio with Metal Matt, and he is totally naked from the waist down.
I'm here with Mantas, or Jeff Dunn, from Venom Inc. and Venom, of course. Really glad you've agreed to do this, so yeah, thanks for coming on today.
No problem.
Bro, so I'm just going to, I thought I'd kind of start in the beginning, really. I know you've probably answered these things a million times, but just to touch on the early days and the kind of sound. I think many know you're really the band that were seen as the ones who started black metal. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it just, I've got to say, it does make me giggle a little bit when I see these debates on who started black metal. It's
Yeah.
like, right, here's the question for you. What would the genre be called if we didn't have a song and an album called black metal? And if we didn't say we are black metal, right?
That's it, yeah.
It's as simple as that. I mean, do you know what it is? I've had so many questions and so many sort of debates about it. And it's like, oh, come on, man. You know, I mean, you know, people say about Bathory and all this. It's like, okay, Bathory. So where did he get that name from? Countess Bathory by any chance? It's like, you know, you know. I mean, the first, you know, like, I've got no disrespect to these people whatsoever. You know, I mean, Chuck Schuldiner, the band, what did he have? It was called Mantas.
Really? Yeah, of course.
And there's all this. The evidence is damning and right across the board, you know. And I mean, it's like I say, total respect to these people. And another thing I've said quite often now is, you know, I have no idea what these people's music is like. I've never listened to a
That's
Bathory
really cool.
track. I've never listened to a Death track. I've never listened to a Bathory track. If you played me one right now and said, who's this band, I would not be able to tell you. And that's the honest truth. I mean, I'm old school. I'm still steeped in Judas Priest and, you
Same
know,
here, yeah.
old stuff. But I mean, the one thing that I can say that I'm proud of, regardless of what's happened in the name of black metal, is that the genre continues today, albeit it's vastly different from what we started. Our sort of our thing with saying, you know, we are black metal. It was something. It was youthful arrogance. It was us trying to alienate ourselves from the mainstream.
Yeah,
You know, we wanted to individualize ourselves. We wanted, you know, rightly or wrongly, and you know, like I say, youthful arrogance it was. Really, we wanted to be leaders rather than followers.
Yeah.
And you know what the bands preceding us did, you know, post Venom, and you know, sort of, we came out and said we are black metal, to an answer from a journalist who said, well, if you're not heavy metal, what are you? You know, because you know the press back then, they just wanted to pigeonhole you left, right, and center.
Yeah,
and that's where we said that we're black metal. You know, so the song was written, the album was already there. But like I say, these bands that followed us, they basically did what we did to our heroes. You know, the Motorheads, the Sabbaths, the Priests, the Kids, you know, they took all of that. Well, we took all of that and tried to make it heavier, faster, dirty, blah, 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 you know? I seen a great interview. Somebody posted it. I think it was from 1982. And it was us. It was the original lineup of Venom at the BBC studios in Newcastle.
Right.
1982. And I mean, we just looked like fetuses, to be
I
perfect.
bet, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And we were so fucking arrogant, but the majority of the arrogance was coming from me, you know? And it was like, you know, at one point I said, you know, people are going to turn around and say, oh, here's another band who's here, they're the fastest, loudest, heaviest, fucking this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And I looked at the camera and went, well, we are.
Yeah, I think unless you've got that confidence, I think that's a big part of, you know, setting yourself above the rest. You've got to have the confidence and balls to say,
Oh,
you know,
yeah, I mean, that was it. There was an endless supply of bullshit and bluster where we were concerned, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, it was, you know, a lot of that early Venom stuff was built on myth and mystery and hype.
Yeah.
You know, and none of it would work today.
No,
none of it would. No, none of it would.
Different times, yeah.
Today. Yeah, different times altogether. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think the relationship with the press you had back then kind of helped, if anything, even though, you know, it was all sorts of press, you know, but do you think it kind of brought a bit of I don't know what the word is, but kind of attention to what you were doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, the old saying, there's no such thing as bad publicity. And you know, we had people who were firmly in our corner and flying our flag.
Yeah.
But we had people in the opposite corner waiting to destroy us, you know, who were dead against the band. There was no middle ground with us. There was no grey areas, you know. It was either, you know, you mentioned the word Venom, and people either went fuck yeah, or they went oh shit, you know.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, I never heard anybody say, yeah, they're okay, you know.
It's always.
I have done now, but in the early days it was like. But I remember speaking to one guy. I'm sure it was after the first Hammersmith audience show. Just this random guy came up to me, and he actually said, I've got to admit, I fucking hate the music, but I love your image and I love the show. And he was there at Hammersmith Odeon. It was like,
crazy.
I love the show and I love the imagery and everything like that, you know. I remember a friend of mine who's now sadly passed away, but his wife, I remember going round to his house once. We used to train in Aikido together, and I went round to pick him up to go training, and went into his house. It was the first time I'd been into his house, and in the hallway there was Cradle of Filth posters all the way, all framed and everything, you know.
Yeah.
And I walked in, I looked, and then his wife came out, and she was a goth. I mean, full blown goth.
Right,
You know?
yeah.
And I just looked at her and I went, "Oh, I didn't know you were into these guys." And she went, "Oh, fucking hate them." She says,
Really?
"But the imagery is amazing."
Yeah. I think you were, obviously the most influential. I think your sound was so unique compared to all these other bands, and kind of you did just completely, make something new. And I think, yeah, no, that speaks for itself. And yeah, I was one. Yeah, go
Well,
ahead.
I was just going to say before you say anything else,
Yeah.
the sound. The sound, everything like that, everything that came with that early sound was born out of ignorance.
Was it?
We didn't know shit.
No.
We didn't know shit. We'd never been in a studio before.
Mm.
I've read so many things where, Corona said, "Oh, I produced this." Fuck off. You knew nothing. You were a T-boy. And there's a guy called Steve Thompson who's got a great website, and he actually came out and said that. He used to work at there. He was the engineer on our first single. But yeah, the whole sound thing, it was absolute ignorance. Even Keith Nicol, who recorded Welcome to Hell and Black Metal, he was the engineer for them. I'm sure he was on At War With as well. But he was the in-house engineer. And when we gained some notoriety, he used to get young bands coming in to do demos. And they used to do this thing called the 50 quid demo. So bands would come in, play live, hand over 50 quid and get the demos.
Yeah.
He told me once when I was recording the first solo thing that I did, he said, I used to get a lot of these young bands coming in and saying, I would say, "Okay, then, so what's your style? What do you want to do? What do you want to sound?" He says, a lot of them would go, "Oh, make us sound like Venom." And he said, as the engineer, I used to turn around and go, "I can't. I don't know how to." those guys come in, plug in, turn everything up to 11, and that's it.
Nice.
And there we have it. Who would have thought, three Geordies from Newcastle there creating the whole genre of black metal, which lives on today, it's pretty crazy, really. And yeah, he's such a talent. I love Mantas. He's a great guy. He rescues cats as well, where he's living in Portugal. He rescues a lot of cats, and yeah, he's a great guy, because there's lots of street cats I know, because I'm out here in Mexico. We've taken in a couple of kittens ourselves, which were left on the street, and yeah, it's sad to see when you live in a different country. There are a lot more street dogs, street cats, and yeah, Mantas does his bit for the street cats. So yeah, check out his pages, because I think there's places you can donate and things to help him with that, which is very nice. So yeah, check out all his Facebook and online. You'll find him, Jeff Mantas Dunn, or Jeff Dunn. Yeah, he's just a great guy, and I love chatting with him about black metal. He said it all there, if they weren't the inventors, then who was, because they were the first to do anything like that. So yeah, it's an argument that always comes up within the black metal community, who invented black metal. And a lot of the people who love the kind of Norwegian black metal, I think they often sway away from Venom, but I think the true black metal fans know that Venom were the first. Venom invented this genre, and what a great genre it is, It's, very dark often, but what I love with Venom is this, it's kind of a mystery. It's like, kind of like how King Diamond has kind of concepts in his music, and, he creates a whole kind of drama almost, with the lyrics, the very vivid lyrics and very dark lyrics, and Kronos' very scary voice, along with Mantas' very kind of unique playing. They all come together. The sound just is very kind of haunting, very kind of... it takes you to that place. It's not that often music does that, but when it does, you've hit on something really unique, when the music really takes you somewhere and kind of lets your imagination run wild. That's kind of what I feel Venom did. And yeah, Mantas, a great guy. So yeah, I found this cover of Hellbent for Leather. I couldn't find many covers that Venom have done of other people's music. So this is the only thing I managed to come across, and it was Hellbent for Leather by Judas Priest. And yeah, there wasn't much information on it, but I believe it was the Demolition era when Demolition Man was playing with Venom. So yeah, take a listen to this.
This is a track entitled hell bent for metal. See the reality of the house. No one knows when you appear. Now wait and living it over. In the line is at the beer. Just feel in the flesh of life. Spin! Rousing the fire in each light. Hell bent for metal. Hell bent for metal. Blind as night, fast in the shadow. It's the flame of a raging sun. And that's a vision, it's a position. And no one knows where he bound. Revolution and the trailer sound renewed. That's what my mind to the ground. Hell bent for metal. Hell bent for metal. There's many who try to do that damn faster. Made it at last. They died as they tried.
Awesome. God, that is a good version. I like how they've kind of adapted it to that black metal style, you know. Very fast, you know, maybe even faster than the original, because often when Judas Priest played it live, they kind of played it pretty fast. The actual album version, I think, is quite slow, you know. Hell bent for leather. But when they played it live, and obviously this version's hell bent for leather. You know, very fast paced. But yeah, it's a great kind of riff, I think, for that kind of, it can adapt to any kind of genre almost, that song, thrash metal, black metal. It's got a very kind of pacey kind of guitar riff. So yeah, love that. That was a really cool version. I think that was a live version they did. They must have played it live at one of their shows back in the day. Like I say, with Demolition Man, I think that one is. And I believe Mantas, of course, on guitar, you know, and they've had a few different lineups over the years, so I don't know if there was some extra members or some, you know, some differences in the lineup on that one, but it's under the name Venom, and it's Hellbent for Leather, and that's why I'm playing it for you today, because, yeah, I just thought it was pretty cool. So, yeah, I'll have to dig out some more details on that, or you guys can, you know, we've all got the internet, but I couldn't find that much information on it, but I just thought it was cool, so that's why I played it today. And yeah, great to hear from Mantas, great having him on. You know, that was a couple of years ago now, and you know, I've stayed in touch with him since. He's a great guy, and yeah, like I say, check out what he's doing, because he's doing a lot these days online and stuff, and coming up with some cool songs. He's even doing versions of Venom songs himself now, just on his own. But he records it all in his studio, and he's singing. He's got a great voice on him, and it's, yeah, he's done some really cool stuff. So yeah, check it all out. Next up, we got a bit of Cradle of Filth, because on the subject of Mantas, they're mentioning Cradle of Filth. I thought this was something I didn't expect. When I was looking for covers, I come across this version by Cradle of Filth of Iron Maiden song, which I know. It's not a not a combination I think anyone would kind of expect, you know. I certainly didn't think Cradle of Filth would ever cover Iron Maiden, but I think they made it work. I'll let you be the decision maker on this one. So we've got a bit of Cradle of Filth with Hallowed Be Thy Name.
Is it really the end of some crazy dream? Somebody please tell me that I'm dreaming. It's not me this time, I'm screaming out what's escaping. When I try to speak, tears they flow, but why am I crying? After all, I'm not afraid of dying. Don't believe that it never is enough.
Wow. Well, that was certainly quite different from Bruce Dickinson. And yeah, that was a pretty cool version, don't you think? It's kind of a, very extreme vocals, that's for sure. And, the band played that really well. That was, a good cover, I think. Yeah. But I'll let you guys decide. We got so many today, so many different covers, and yeah, there's some exciting ones to come up. One of my personal favourites next up is one by Tim Ripper Owens. You may know him, sang with Judas Priest for a while, sang with Iced Earth, and these days it's KK's Priest he's singing with, and he does his own stuff. I've even had him on a couple of my songs, Razor Edge and Cyber War. So yeah, that was great. That was a good few years ago now, but it's great to have him on there. And he's just a great vocalist, very professional. He can really nail that kind of high vocal, kind of different voice to Rob Halford, but his screams are kind of unique to himself. He's got these really powerful kind of powerhouse screams, very extreme screams, which you'll hear on this version of a King Diamond song. Is Abigail, and it's a live performance in New York, I believe, and it is insane. So prepare yourself. This is probably the best version of Abigail, and I daren't say it may be better than the original, but you decide. This is Abigail, Tim Ripper Owens version.
Come on, people! Abigail, I know you're in control of your brain. Abigail, oh!
there we have it. How crazy is that? That is one of the most extreme versions of Abigail I think you'll ever hear. And yeah, Ripper just on top form there. Crazy vocals. You know, King Diamond known for his high voice. But King is kind of different to Rob Halford, different to Ripper, because he's kind of more haunting, you know? It's kind of like, I cannot sleep at night. He uses that kind of falsetto, and then, oh, and the clock strikes midnight. Only they can let her be. All that kind of, you know, he mixes that really low, evil voice, almost a black metal voice, with that kind of, and very clean, kind of haunting, ghostly high notes. Ripper and Rob Halford, and those kind of vocalists, a bit more kind of distortion on the voice, and Ripper is using that there for Abigail, you know, instead of like, oh, Abigail, don't you think I know what you've done, Abigail? It's more like, oh, Abigail, don't you think I know what you've done, Abigail? It's kind of a lot more distorted, you know, he adds that real distorted sound, and, you know, as a vocalist myself, I love that kind of distorted high. I love the clean high too. I think they're both amazing, King and Ripper, and I think King would be very proud of Ripper at this cover, you know, if he's heard it, I don't know, but it's an insane version, and yeah, I love it. And on that subject of kind of high vocals and things, I thought I'd show you a song I've covered, Judas Priest, once again, because I love Judas Priest, and I know you guys love Judas Priest, but I'm going to take it a bit slower now. We'll go for a ballad. It's a lovely little ballad from the Stained Class album, and I worked with a guy called Frantic Foster, or Corey Foster, and he came up with this beautiful music. I think I added a little solo at the end of the kind of, or in the middle somewhere. We kind of did a slightly different version. I think there isn't the big long Glenn Tipton solo. It's a long time ago I did this cover, but yeah, I did a bit of lead guitar on this one in the middle, and I sang on this one. I'm the singer, but he composed the beautiful music, and he really nailed the music, and I think we kind of went for almost like a Halford live Insurrection. I don't know if you've heard that album. It's when Rob Halford did his solo stuff. Halford, he did this great version of Beyond the Realms of Death, kind of inspired by that version, but we kind of made it our own as well, and yeah, it's really nice. I'm really proud of this, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it too. Beyond the Realms of Death.
It had enough
There we go. That's my version of Beyond the Realms of Death with Corey Foster. We had a lot of fun doing that one, and yeah, it was nice to lay down a little guitar solo. It's kind of a slightly different arrangement, more of a KK Downing style solo, which I kind of went for, kind of where Glenn's solo would be. And yeah, there's no solo on the end. I haven't listened to it for a while, so it was kind of interesting to hear it, but I think it worked with that arrangement. I think it's still got all the main elements, although Glenn's solo is a very big part of that song. You know, it's kind of, I think for this interpretation it worked, and yeah, I'm very proud of it. It was great to sing that song. I love that ballad. You know, the thing with Judas Priest, they're so great at doing ballads. You know, they can really nail a beautiful ballad. Yeah, so hope you enjoyed that. But next up, you know, I've got so many to choose from, but there's one that really always stood out for me, and it was Joey Belladonna on vocals. This is an Anthrax tribute to Ronnie James Dio, the late Ronnie James Dio. There was an album, This Is Your Life, which a lot of bands paid tribute to Dio, and this is probably the best on the album, I think. This was Neon Nights, and it's Anthrax, the Anthrax version, and Joey just nailed the vocal. It's crazy how good he sang this. He's got such a great, powerful voice. He's, you know, such an amazing voice, because thrash metal often doesn't have that melodic kind of voice, but with Joey, he was kind of an exception. He's got such a powerful, great voice, you know, very kind of a full voice too, you know. I never really hear him doing any falsettos or anything like that. He's kind of like Dio. He's really belting it out from his chest voice, you know. It's great sound, and the whole band played this really, really cool, you know, really well played. So enjoy this. This is Neon Nights by Anthrax off the This Is Your Life album.
Nothing's in the past.
Fantastic song. Obviously, that's off the Heaven and Hell album. Very iconic album with Ronnie James Dio on vocals for Black Sabbath. I know a lot of people, won't stray from Ozzy, but I believe that album and the albums he did with Sabbath are just, equally as iconic. I love kind of the Heaven and Hell album. I remember playing that so many times, when I was growing up. It's just got such a vibe, such a unique kind of vibe, and I love it. I think fantastic music, and what a great job Anthrax did there. That to me, that is probably the best cover someone could do of that song. That was, they really nailed that. So yeah, props to Anthrax on that one, and Joey Belladonna with that amazing voice. He's such a great guy too. He's talked about my song Alien Invasion in the past, and yeah, he's just a great guy. Really, really good guy, and very kind of down to earth, very real, which I think is what we need more of. So many rock stars have big egos and stuff, and he's just totally cool, and I admire that about him. So yeah, great guy. And I've got another one now, but Rob Halford this time, and it's off the same album where they paid tribute to Dio. But this is with Doug Aldrich, Rob Halford with Doug Aldrich, and some other musicians who I'm not sure. I think maybe this was kind of a virtual collab. I don't know if they all got in the studio to do this or not. But I did get a chance to talk to Doug Aldrich about this, and this is what he had to say about it. About the This Is Your Life album. It's an album I really enjoyed. It was like a tribute to Dio by many different artists. And you did Man on the Silver Mountain with Rob Halford. I was wondering how that experience. Did you get in the studio together, or was it kind of all done separately, kind of thing?
We did. Me and Vinny, and I forget, is it Jeff Pilson playing bass on that?
Might have been. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I forgot, but I know that the producer was Wyn Davis, and he wanted to do something slightly different. So we ended up doing like this crazy slide version of it, with Rob singing on it, and it was really it was very different. I'm not sure that Man on the Silver Mountain, I'm not sure Ronnie would have approved. Actually.
Oh, really? Really? Yeah.
But yeah, so but it was fun. I'm super proud to have been a part of it. That's cool. And Wendy, Ronnie's 15th year memorial's coming up, so I'm going to go see that, spend some time with him at his resting spot. I did it last year for the first time since he passed, and it was really nice. We spent the day with a bunch of friends, and then Wendy took us all out to Ronnie's favorite Indian place, and we had a lunch. So it was great, man. So I'm going to do that.
So there we go. There's Doug Aldrich talking about working on Man on the Silver Mountain. Doesn't sound like he was necessarily, his proudest work. I think maybe it was, for some reason he felt maybe Dio wouldn't have approved of it. But I think it's a really cool version. And, I know Rob, from what I remember, he wanted that song when they offered him the idea of playing on this album. He was like, this was the song. He was like, oh, I got to do this song. So, I think he's very proud of it, and I think it's cool. I like it. It's a very kind of a unique version, like Doug was saying there. And again, he's such a fantastic player, and nice that he still visits Dio's grave, and gets to spend time with his wife Wendy, and all the friends. That's really nice. So with no further ado, let's play a little Man on the Silver Mountain. Hope you enjoy this. This is again off the This Is Your Life album. There we have it. Man on the Silver Mountain. I think that's really cool. Still got that magical kind of Dio vibe, which, you know, Dio always managed to capture in his music. And yeah, I feel Rob really captured that. And Doug, fantastic guitar player. It was great talking with him a few weeks ago. You know, he's real down to earth, cool guy too. And yeah, legend, you know, both of them. And just a great, and Dio, you know, great tribute to the legend that was Ronnie James Dio, such a unique artist, you know. And it's always weird hearing Rob cover things, you know. Sometimes I think the cover, I mean, with Judas Priest, whenever they cover something, it really does seem to work well. Like, I love that Johnny Be Good and Diamonds and Rust, their interpretation. Halford even did a Scorpions cover, Blackout, which I might play on this show a little later as one of the songs I've just remembered he covered and did a great job. So if we get time, I'll play that one as well. But yeah, Rob can adapt his voice in many areas. But it's funny, there's one, only with Priest does he sound, you know, so kind of unmatchable, you know. You hear Rob Halford sing with Judas Priest, there's no voice like it, you know. It's such a unique voice, and it suits Judas Priest like nothing else, you know. It's kind of weird to hear him covering other things, and you know, I think he definitely shines the most when he's singing his own music, Judas Priest. But it's great to hear him do kind of different interpretations, and I love this. I think he really gave that a good go, and it sounded great. And back in the day, he sang live with Black Sabbath a couple of times, and when he sang Neon Nights live with them, there's a little clip somewhere of that. It's not the best quality, but it's out there if you want to find it, and it's great. Great version is he sang in a very high vocal, you know, his classic high voice. He was kind of a lot younger then, and yeah, he really nailed Neon Nights, and he did Heaven and Hell, a few Dio ones and some Ozzy ones, and yeah, it was great. One of the few times he sang with Black Sabbath, you know, I think 2 times he managed to sing with Black Sabbath when Ozzy couldn't make it or something. And yeah, they threw a few Dio songs into the set as well, where I think Rob particularly shines on the Dio stuff, you know. So yeah, that was great version there. We've got next up, we've got a cool little thing by Steel Panther. This was a cover of Journey, and I can't believe how much they nailed this song. They really got it, you know, perfect. And I love Michael's voice, and Satchel's amazing, phenomenal guitar playing. You know, I think he's the best guitarist around. There's not many guitarists these days, I think, you know, are right up there. You know, I think Steve Stevens is great, Satchel, KK Downing, they're probably my top 3. And yeah, Satchel is just such a phenomenal player. He's done a lot of stuff, you know. But Steel Panther, you know, they're amazing guys. Their songs are funny. They don't take themselves too seriously, but they seriously rock. And you know, they are such a tight band. And this showcases that. This next cover we got for you today on this cover special. This is a Journey cover, and it's a classic song we all know and love by Journey, called Don't Stop Believing. I think you know it. I think everyone knows it. So enjoy. This is Don't Stop Believing by Steel Panther. But before I hand you over, we got a little message from Satchel.
Hey, this is Satchel from Steel Panther. I'm just sitting here at my mom's house with some hookers and my bass player Spider. Say hi, Spider. You're listening to Metal Stream Radio with Metal Matt, and he's totally naked from the waist down.
And there we have it, Satchel there, and there could be some truth in that, or there could not be, but I deny all questions. I'm not going to reveal reveal the truth on that. But yeah, that was great of Satchel to introduce Metal Stream Radio. He's such a great guy. He's a good friend of mine, and yeah, I love their version of Don't Stop Believing. So check out this.
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere.
Bit of Don't Stop Believing there. I mean, what a beautiful voice. Great screams by Michael there. Beautiful playing by Satchel. You know, he played all those lead parts with absolute precision. And obviously Styx tearing up on the drums there. He's always keeping that solid force behind the Steel Panther music. And I think that just showcases what great musicians they are. You know, they absolutely nailed that song. And they've been around for so many years, you know. They played all the Las Vegas Strip and all that kind of thing. And the Viper Room and all that stuff. I think they started out doing all that kind of stuff, and then they got bigger, kind of known as Steel Panther then later on. And yeah, they've been doing this stuff for so many years now, so they're absolute professionals, you know. And obviously Satchel's worked with a lot of people, Paul Gilbert, Rob Halford. You know, he's really stood the test of time, and he's one of the greats. He can play anything, you know. You only got to watch him play, and he's just phenomenal, you know. So yeah, I love that. Again, I think that's probably one of the best covers we played today. That one and Abigail, and probably the Anthrax one, I think, are my favourites so far. I think they are really top tier covers, you know. So if you're going to do a cover, I think you've got to do it right, or you've got to do it different, you know. You've got to kind of try and nail, you know, kind of nail it or make it your own, do something different. And yeah, they definitely nailed it. So next up, we got quite a cool one, a bit of Pantera covering Black Sabbath. You may have heard this one. It's Planet Caravan. So let's hear this together now. There we have quite a beautiful version of Planet Caravan there, and it's just surprising to hear, you know, a less aggressive side of Pantera, you know, but it shows they could do a lot of things. Phil's voice there, very beautiful, very melodic. I think back in the day he was even screaming a bit like Rob Halford, kind of high vocal screams I've heard him do. Quite a contrast to the kind of later Pantera, grungy, kind of very gruff, walk kind of music, kind of vocal, you know, totally different sound. So it's nice to hear that kind of side of Pantera. And Dimebag, amazing guitar player in there. What a player he was, you know. He's he just had that sound, and it just a totally kind of natural sound to his playing. Just could noodle away and squeal and all that stuff just effortlessly, and just kind of make the guitar sing. I think that's what I love about a guitarist, if they can truly just make the guitar sing and let the guitar sort of tell the story, tell the message, you know. And I feel he did that. It's really beautiful playing, and a great cover there. I think they recently played it live for the first time since they released it, in tribute to Ozzy. Of course, the great Ozzy Osbourne, who we all love and miss. And, you know, God bless Ozzy. You know, it's sad just not to have him around anymore, but the music lives on. And we're going to listen to Ozzy sing one of his Heroes songs now. Like I've said to you, it's great to hear a different side to artists and to hear how their influences come about, and what better way than hear them cover a song by their favourite artists. And if you know Ozzy, you know he loved the Beatles, he loved John Lennon, and this is a cover of a John Lennon song now. So enjoy this, and followed after this, talking of Heroes, I'll be playing Motorhead covering Heroes by David Bowie. So I'll leave you with those two to play for now, and I'll be back just after that with some interviews with Kane Roberts. So look forward to that, guys, and I hope you enjoy this. This is a little bit of Motorhead. Well, after. First Ozzy with John Lennon, then Motorhead with Heroes.
How can I go forward when I don't know which way I'm facing? Forward when I don't know which way to turn. How can I go forward into something I'm not really sure of? Oh no. Oh no. If I don't know if it's a feeling, how can I feel something if I just don't know how to feel? How can I feel something when my feelings have always been I'm giving. How can I give love when I just don't know how to give? How can I give love when love is something I ain't never sometimes I feel up and down. How can we go forward when we don't know which way we're facing? How can we go forward when we don't know which way to turn? How can we go forward into something we're not really sure of?
And there we have a wonderful version of Heroes by Motorhead, and that great voice of Lemmy. They're two legends we've lost there, Ozzy and Lemmy. Ozzy, love that version of How by John Lennon. Great to hear them singing something different, you know. So yeah, beautiful voices. And two legends that just will never come again. There'll never be icons like that, will there? It's, you know, I think we're lucky to have been blessed with both of them in our lifetime. Two legends who are truly unique and were always true to themselves and real and didn't appear to have any ego kind of thing, you know. And I think that's what we should all aspire to, you know. It's always the people who are kind of the most sincere, the most real, that get far in life, you know, because they don't have all that ego, which a lot of rock stars have. You know, they're just legends and they're unique. And yeah, love Lemmy, love Ozzy. You know, God bless them both. They're legends. And on the note of covers, you know, I thought I'd play us out with a little bit of Painkiller, but it's not the Painkiller you're thinking. It's been quite a Judas Priest heavy episode today, because there's been lots of tributes to Judas Priest, and even Rob Halford singing himself his own tribute. But yeah, I'm going to play you out now, guys, with Death's version of Painkiller, a very unique version of Painkiller, and I think a great way to end the show. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. I'll see you guys next week for more heavy metal. And yeah, every Friday, every Saturday, you know what times, it's all here, so tune in, and yeah, you can listen around the world, and yeah, see you Fridays and Saturdays. Keep up to date on the Metal Stream Radio website and on my social medias, Metal Matt, and I'll keep you all tuned on when the shows are going out and all that kind of thing, so just make sure you're subscribed and notifications are on, and you won't miss a thing. But I'm here for you every week to give you your weekly dose of heavy metal. We have a bit of Painkiller. Pain